Hello, and welcome to the Empowerography Podcast. This is a platform created for women's voices to be heard and a place to share their stories, journeys, and successes with the world for the purpose of helping other women who might be on similar journeys. We are empowering women one episode at a time. I'm your host, Brad Walsh, so kick back, grab one of your favorite beverages, and enjoy the stories. What if I told you the only thing standing between you and your next big opportunity is your voice? This isn't just another program. Empower Your Message is your ticket to becoming the podcast guest everyone wants. You'll learn how to craft a pitch that gets a hell yes, show up with unshakable confidence, and drop truth bombs that leave hosts and audiences wanting more. No more playing small. No more waiting for permission. It's your time to be heard. Loud, clear, and unforgettable. Visit the link in the show notes to sign up, and let's make your voice impossible to ignore. The mic is waiting. Are you ready? Hello there, Brad Walsh here, your host of the Empowerography Podcast, a platform that was created to help elevate and amplify the voices of women through sharing their stories. Today, my guest is Layla El Khadri. She is an artist, a muse, and a feminine leadership mentor who knows how to get you to access your awe-inspiring magnetism with over a decade of experience guiding women to express their absolute highest potential and embody their magic. Welcome, Layla. How are you doing today?
I am doing great. Excited for our chat.
I am too. I am so excited to have you here and looking forward to jumping in and sharing all about the beautiful light you put out into the world through the work you do, as well as a bit about your story and your journey. So with that being said, let us jump right in. So when you look back at your younger self, the one before all the titles, the healing, and the wisdom, what was she searching for through her art?
It's always so endearing to think back to those years because I feel like then in my childhood is where I had the most vivid presence in my inner world. I have full memories of images and dreams and entire worlds I will see. It's almost like I felt like I had access to timelines of possibilities, of things I didn't even fully understand. And I didn't know that art was art. Later on, in retrospect, my parents told me, you were such an artistic kid. We could leave you in your room for 6-7 hours doing just painting and dancing and singing. And what I was trying to do was to reconstruct those worlds that I saw inside of my imagination that were definitely not what I would see in the world around me.
Yeah. And so what was the moment or experience that cracked you open to your artistry when you really realized that creating wasn't something you did, it was who you are?
I think the first time that I had a really conscious experience of that, it was later on. It was in 2011. It was New Year's of 2011 to 2012. And I was in my first spiritual journey. I was in Thailand studying Tantra in a famous Tantra school. And I had gone over to a place called the Temple to celebrate New Year's. And there was this big party in the jungle with music. There was some medicine and I was dancing. And I had a moment of breaking through experience of separation between the ego and the world. It was my first, maybe we can call it Satori experience. Though my mother talks about me as a child having one of those experiences in the kitchen once.
Wow.
But it was the first that I registered, and it was through dance, and I exploded into being. And I knew who I was, I knew what I was doing here, and everything was okay. I don't know how to put it in more. It was that simple. It was like, oh, everything is okay in the universe. And it was through the medium of art, the dance, that it came to me.
Beautiful. And so you've walked the path of artist, mentor, and muse. Which identity found you first, and which one claimed your soul?
So the identity of the artist was the first one I expressed. Okay. I don't know that I was identifying as an artist. I was just being artistic, creating art, even on the walls of my house, to my mother's dismay. It was just coming out of me.
Yeah.
The first identity I received, because the world around me told me, it was the muse. I was really young when I started receiving the projection. Wow, you're such a muse. You're such a muse. I actually remember it was a bit confronting in the first years when I was still struggling with my self-confidence in my teens. Having so much recognition for what my presence could do became a little bit of a pressure. Then later on, I learned to harness and navigate. And I will say, just because you asked the question in such a beautiful way, what is the one that has claimed my soul is actually the mentor. I feel that I was put into this world to do the work I'm doing in this time that is needed. And there's no question in my being that this is my soul's journey.
And that is an incredible beauty when you realize that you've found your purpose and you've found your mission, what you're here for. There is no better feeling in the world than embodying that and stepping into that. So with the artist piece, though, did you find it difficult? Because I know I found this difficult for myself to claim and use the title as artist to describe yourself. I know that a lot of artists do struggle with that at first. It's almost like an imposter syndrome type thing where using the title of artist to describe yourself. Did you have trouble with that?
Yes, in the beginning, but very in the beginning though, because I stepped into acting and music super early in my career. And so I took on the identity of the artist. I knew I was here to express. I did struggle with it though when I went into business, because I developed my career through leadership and business mentorship. And then during COVID, I went really deep in business mentorship and wanting to have a very professional image. Sometimes I found that disconnect and I had to work with it through it because I never wanted to let go of my artistry. That for me is very clear.
Yeah, I found it a struggle for me to adopt that title with my work. And I think I've come to accept it, but it took me a while to get there. I think a lot of artists do struggle with that, though.
I think there is a bit of stigma. We don't fully understand yet.
Yeah.
But I was celebrating this morning on Instagram, and I don't know how relevant the news are. I don't know if it was an old post, but the president of Iceland had just passed a law with approving a minimum salary for artists. So you can apply to be a full-time artist, full-time paid for just creating art, because they had discovered that for every dollar that they invest in an artist, the artist returned to society 1.97.
Wow,
So
that's amazing.
Their value. We're starting to see it. The numbers. I knew this.
Yes, that's a beautiful thing. Yeah, I've not heard that, so it must be fairly relevant or fairly new, I would think. That is one place that is on my bucket list. I want to go to Iceland and photograph that country. Oh, I can handle that. That's okay. For the art, it's okay. I'll do it. For the love of the art, it's all right. Yeah, but I don't know. Sometimes you just got to make the sacrifice. I'm willing to do it, so I'll get there. That's, like I said, that's on my bucket list. So you describe yourself as a muse. What does that word mean to you, and how has embodying that word changed the way you move through the world?
As I shared before, I recognized the muse through the mirror that the world was giving me. And this is true to many things in my reality. I recognized my beauty through the mirror that I was given. My parents raised me believing that I was actually ugly and that I had to overcompensate by being smarter and kind. And I think it was a protection mechanism, but it took me very long to recognize my beauty. And it was a process. And same with many aspects of my personality. And I think this is important to know, because very often in the spiritual and self-development community, we have this thing of you have to love yourself first.
Yes.
That's a tricky. We are mirrors of each other. Mm-hmm. Truth is that we get to see ourselves deeply when we can look into one another. So for me, the way I understood what a muse was as someone whose frequency field generates inspiration. And so for that to actually be true is one of those archetypes that you cannot fake it.
Yeah.
You can fake maybe the archetype of the queen with attitude. There's certain archetypes that we can fake, and fake it until you make it. I'm all about that. With the muse is a frequency field. You can't fake inspiration. So if you are inspiring yourself, if you're feeling inspired within yourself, if your life becomes a source of inspiration, then you will be an inspiration for those around you, whether they personalize it on you or not. Sometimes the inspiration comes through you, but nobody knows that you were the source of it.
Yeah, very true. Thank you for explaining that. What was the very first creative act that made you feel powerful, not for how it looked, but for how it moved you?
That I was very young. I was in seventh grade. We had the big performance that we rehearsed for the entire year, and we show at the end, and we had tickets, and then with the money that we collected, we went on a trip. So it was like a big year project, and we performed the Faust from
Oh,
Goethe,
yes.
a quite deep theater piece. And I had the main
Yes, I've seen that play. It is powerful.
powerful. Yeah, our teacher wanted us to go deep. So I had the role of the main female role. And there was a scene that the teachers had decided to cut out because it was very difficult. It was just the woman on the stage reciting some words with a scarf and music of a piano, and she was evoking emotion. So that was too much for I think at that age, we are 12 or something like this. And I begged my teacher to leave that scene on. And we did the scene on the day of the performance. And I went to the edge of the stage and I looked. I will never forget this. The light on the stage was too bright, so I couldn't see the audience. And I was just there. I was on that scene, and I was that princess, and I was feeling those emotions, and I had tears, and the audience broke. Imagine a 12-year-old looking at a scarf while reciting words that the piano is playing, and she's crying. I bet you 60% of the audience was crying with me. And that's the day I knew I wanted to be an artist. I told my mom,
Amazing.
"This is it, Mama. I found it."
It's so funny that you're bringing this up because I recently watched a TV show, and the woman was talking to her son about Faust and the music and all of it. And it just brought me back to when I saw that play. I had read the book before I saw the play. I'd read the play, and then seeing them talk about it in this TV show, it made me remember that and made me want to go back and read it again, because it has been so long since I've seen the play and since I've read that book. And I do remember it was incredibly powerful. The story, all of it was so beautiful. And then now you're bringing it up. I have to go back and read it again for sure. That's right. 100%. I love it. So art often emerges from pain or passion. What would you say has been one of your most transformative muse, and how did she or it shape your creative path?
I create from passion, for sure. Pain freezes me. When I get into pain, and I've been actually teaching this since 2020, I went through a major break in my life, breakup, and many things broke. A few days before, I was starting a very successful online training called the Avatar Woman. And I sent an email to all the women in the program offering a refund to anyone who wanted to step out, explaining that I was dying. But to anyone that wanted to stay, I was going to guide them through the 6 months of the program, through the process of death, through the journey of Inanna, the goddess it's one of the oldest legends that we have recorded history. And it's the journey of the goddess of the light, basically going to visit her sister, the goddess of the underworld, and dying. The process of letting the ego die, letting the identity die, letting the personality die. And to my surprise, out of the 22 women I had on the course, only one woman wanted to opt out. So I went on a 6-month journey with 21 women through the process of death. And what I found out in that process, through sharing it and teaching it and going deep, is, for me, I need to die first. Trying to create while I'm dying, and it works. A lot of the most beautiful art pieces we have are expressions of pain of the artist. In my archetype, in my makeup, it's from passion. Now, that doesn't mean it's from the la 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 of life. Sometimes the passion is like my last project is deep, profound anger against what society is doing to the human body. And so from that anger came the creation. But pain is not definitely one of my muses. Thanks God.
Yes, exactly. Can you take us back to a moment when your art became your medicine, when creation was the only language your soul could speak? Every day.
Every breath. Every day, every breath. There is one story I like, I'm very proud of. When I went through this break of my life, one of the things that broke was my relationship and other aspect, and my lower back. I had an injury on my L5S1, which is the last little vertebra before the coccyx. It blew out, and I did some x-rays, and the doctor said, you have a hernia. You're going to have a hernia for the rest of your life. Learn to live with pain. And I looked at the doctor and said, no, thank you, but thank you. And I went on a journey and I healed it through art. I have a degree in somatic therapy, and I studied with a woman that passed a few years ago. Her name is Anna Halpring. She was one of the pioneers of somatic therapy together with Fritz Perls back in the 70s. And when I studied with her, she was already 95 years old.
Wow.
And she had healed cancer twice through the art process. Because at the end of the day, and this is not news, it was news 10 years ago when I started talking about it, but it's not news anymore. Every single disease is a disease of the system. The system is trying to process something emotional or mental, doesn't find the way, creates a disease.
Yep.
And so she reversed ovarian cancer and medullary cancer, I think it was, through a process of finding what in her system hadn't expressed itself and giving it a space to express. And then, of course, creating a space to heal the biology that had already been damaged. So I started the same process. And I did it through three ways, through modalities.
Okay.
I chose paint. So I bought these big canvases and I started painting my spine. And there where my spine had the break, I will work with gold, inspired by the Japanese art of kintsugi that fixes the broken ceramics with gold. And so I went on a very deep process. So I will go from the painting to the dance, back to the painting. And the dance does not look like dancing. It looks like moving your body in the ways that your body needs to move in order to release the emotional trauma and the stored energy that has created the disease in the first place. And then the third thing, which I always bring when I talk about somatic therapy and healing through arts, is you have to remember that we are a complex mechanism and that the biology also, when the dysfunction and the disbalance has already hit the biology, has already created the wound or created the broken bone and the metastasis. So you also need to care for the biology. All I did for that was to hang myself from my feet 2 hours a day to create space and the vertebrae so that the work I was doing had space to
take root,
to embody.
Yeah.
And 6 months later, I took an X-ray. I went back to the doctor just to see his face because I could see it on the X-ray myself. Hi, do you remember me? Oh, there must have been a mistake in the previous X-ray. I was like, yeah, that will explain my pain, sir.
I love stories like this, Layla, because it is so powerful. And to be able to share stories like this with people so that they know what other modalities and what other things are out there to help us heal, because the body is a magnificent creation, the human body. And I've had people bring this up recently quite a bit when we're talking about healing, is look at you when you cut yourself. Look, you can watch in real time your body heal itself. So think about the possibilities for the body to heal. Yet we have been conditioned and taught that we have to rely on Western medicine and the white coats. And it is wrong. We do not need... Western medicine has its place. Don't get me wrong. There is a place for it, for sure. But there are so many other ways of healing. There's so many other modalities out there that people have no clue about because they've been conditioned to believe that Western medicine is the only way. So I love sharing stories like yours and other women who I have connected with who are doing this type of work to help people realize that, no, we don't have to solely rely on Western medicine. There are so many other ways for us to heal our bodies, and the body is a magnificent creation, and it is so powerful and beautiful. And so I love screaming from the mountaintops stories like yours because it's so important.
Oh my God. And would love to also inspire us to look through this. It's not just for those who are dealing with sickness. It's at a fundamental level, is our belief that we are sovereign creators of our life, of our thoughts, of our emotions, and of our health. When we are children, we get indoctrinated to give our power away.
Yep.
To give our mental power to the educational institute, physical power to the health institute, our security and safety power to the security forces, our relational power to the law, and we are so utterly disempowered.
Yes.
By the time we are 18 and we are adults, we are so utterly disempowered. There is no way we are going to collectively create the world we want to live in until we remember.
That's it.
And one of the most important places to remember is, my loves, our bodies are trillions of cells. every single cell is listening to the main computer.
Yes.
If the main computer says we're healing, so it is.
Yes. But you have
The
to.
main computer doesn't.
But also, I think it's important to mention, because this is true with all of it, mindset, power of positivity, manifestation. You can say all the mantras that you want. If you don't believe it, if you are not embodying it, it doesn't mean shit. It means nothing. You have to actually believe in it. You have to embody it. You have to become that emotion that you are thinking about in order for it to take root. Just with the healing, you have to believe that you are healing. You have to really step into that. But yes, we have been indoctrinated our entire lives. It's about going back to remembering who we were. We didn't come in with all this conditioning. We came in pure, innocent souls with all of the power we could possibly ever possess. It's once we incarnated into these meat suits that we're currently in, that's when the indoctrination started, from parental, societal. And the parental stuff, that's not through any fault of their own. They were conditioned as well. So they are just passing down what they knew. But you're right. It is such an important sense of remembering who we are. It's all there within us. It's just been tamped so far down because of all the conditioning.
It's so crazy. I have stories for days, but I'll share a very quick one.
Yeah, please do.
6-year-old little girl that breaks her final tooth. So not the milk one, but the final one. So maybe she wasn't 6, it was 10. I don't remember. Little girl. She was a little girl. She comes crying, Mom, I broke my tooth. Mom looks at the tooth and goes, oh, this is the final tooth.
Yeah.
We're going to have to drill your mouth and put it in. And she goes, honey, don't worry. It's going to grow back. She looks back at Mom. The story is amazing. But Mom, it's not the milk one. It's the other one. Yeah, honey, but for kids under a certain age, it works like the milk one. Guess what happened 14 months later?
It grew back.
Her teeth started to grow back. That woman has my age right now and perfectly beautiful teeth.
There you go. The human body, I'm telling you. It's incredible.
Now, is it all about wishful thinking? Absolutely not.
No.
That's what I said before. You have to work with biology. We can't separate. And this is the problem of our societies. We go very extreme. You're a holistic being. Yes, let's work on the mind. And then let's work on the emotional component that created the disease in the first. And then let's work on the biology and see, do we need iron? Do we need to do a detox?
Yeah.
What do we need to do?
What's missing? Yeah. Yeah.
And that's where I feel Western medicine is really good. I go to the doctor, I tell the doctor what to do. Listen, this is what we're doing. We're cutting here, but not here.
I love it. Thank you for sharing that story.
My pleasure.
Layla, what do you believe happens when a woman becomes the muse of her own life instead of waiting to be someone else's inspiration?
That her life becomes a masterpiece. When she is the muse, her life is the masterpiece.
I love that. How do you see the connection between art and leadership? Where do they merge and where do they collide?
For me, good leaders are creators. If you're not a creator, then you're a destroyer or you are an imposter. And we unfortunately have way too many of the second two types.
Yes.
If you're a true leader, you're a creator. What are you leading? What are you doing with your leadership? You're creating opportunity for your people. You're creating a possibility. You're creating conflict resolution, you're creating wealth, you're creating health. And because leaders control the narrative, that's one of the main gifts that leadership give, then leaders also are creating reality. Because in the world, in the three-dimensional world that we live in, that those who own the narrative create the reality. And I don't need to say anything else. I think we all know what.
Yes, we do. We do. But, I think it's great to see, because I think the world is awakening to what's going on, which is amazing and it's beautiful. There are still a lot of people that are sleepwalking, and that's okay. Some of them will never wake up to it, and that's their path, and that's okay. But I always say, for those that are awakening and realizing what's happening, get on board. Let's go. There's more than enough room for everybody who wants to get on board and who wants to share their light, because we are all here to be in and of service to one another. We are all here to support each other. We all have gifts, and it is your duty and your responsibility to share those gifts with the world, to enlighten the world through your gifts.
Yeah. And to create, like, when I started talking about leadership 10 years ago, the first video that became a bit viral, I was saying, doesn't matter if you lead in a nation, a city, a classroom, a company, a family, or just your individual life. It is your birthright and your responsibility to create the reality that is yours to create.
Yes, you are the only one that can.
Exactly.
You have sovereignty over yourself. You are the only one who can create the life you desire. No one else is going to do it for you. And you can, it is possible to create anything you want in this world. You can have it all.
Exactly.
There's more than enough to go around, but it's this scarcity mindset that has crept into people's minds because of the conditioning, and you can only have so much, and then that's it. No, you can have as much as you want. There's more than enough for everybody in the world.
Yeah. Yeah. And we create more. I mean, the government of the United States got it, and they keep printing money. So why are we not? I don't know, man. You might need to edit that out, but
no, we'll keep that in. I love that.
The place where we think it is limited is actually, I don't know, is around $1 trillion a year that's being printed. Listen, you guys, the universe is not on a budget. So
no, definitely not. And it will give you what you ask for.
Exactly.
Negative or positive.
There you go. And it's not just what you ask for consciously. There's a lot of
what you think
unconsciously.
Yeah,
there's an amazing book
sure.
I would love to recommend, and I'm not endorsed by any means. It's called
Please do.
Existential Kink. It's a very easy read. I don't remember the author's name, but she's amazing. Basically, she says everything you're getting because you want it. And if it hurts, you're kinky. You have to figure it out why you want to be punished. Brilliant book.
Love it. I will add that to my list of books to check out for sure.
It's also easy to read. It's fun.
Excellent. Now, the feminine has been painted as soft or gentle for centuries. What's the fierce, unapologetic side of the feminine that you wish more women would unleash?
Okay. So this soft, sweet feminine that they gave us is
You could swear. It's
the biggest bullshit ever. Same with the story that Eve was the first sinner.
Mary Magdalene, all the stories, Salem witch trials, all of this shit. All of it is bullshit.
So I will use a very quick explanation that I received through a man called Bruce Lyon, but it comes from very old Western philosophy. And it's a map of the masculine and feminine dynamics. So now let's separate masculine and feminine from men and women. This has nothing to do. We all have masculine and feminine within ourselves.
That's right.
So within this map, we have the dark and the light, and they're not bad and good. The light is all the aspects that are from the heart up, the upper chakras, and the dark is all the aspects that are from the heart down, the lower chakras. And it's light and dark because one is the seen and the other one is the unseen, the mystery, the under the earth, the death process. They're both necessary for life, right? So the feminine that we have got given is only the light feminine, which is the image of the Virgin Mary. But Virgin Mary didn't birth Jesus through her heart. She birthed it through her vagina. It came through the lower world because that's where humans come through. And in that world lives creation and destruction. It's interesting that it's through our sexual organs that we also eliminate. So there's life and death coming from the same portal. All of the wisdom of nature that doesn't require for the mind, the womb, the cycles of the womb, the creation of a new complex human being does not require the brain. You can be in coma and still be gestating a child for 9 months. So that is the dark feminine, is the instinct, is the natural world, is the sexuality, is the creation, is the destruction, is all of that, all of the energies that actually gives us real power as we understand the word power. Not because love and kindness is not powerful. They need to come together. But what grounds us into this 3D world is the dark feminine. And the light feminine is much more helping us now that the root is there to reach up into higher planes, into the spiritual planes, which are amazingly beautiful to explore, but without a root creates disempowered feminine and disempowered masculine too. We could also talk about how we have decided to call the dark masculine toxic. And there is toxicity in how the dark masculine has been disowned. But also we wouldn't be who we are if we didn't have access to our instinct and our dark masculine. So I really wish for women to, this is a very quick answer to a very profound topic, but I wish for us to go deeper in understanding the polarity within ourselves, men and women, and to learn to embrace our dark masculine and our dark feminine, because then we will not be manipulated the way we are.
I think we have to start with embrace the fact that we have both within us, because so many people don't embrace both. That's where it has to start, is realizing and embracing both your masculine and feminine. We do need to, I think, and I've been saying this for I don't know how long now, but we need to stop these labels, this masculine and feminine, masculine versus feminine warring between each other. We need to come together as human beings. That's the only way that we are going to get anything done in this world, is if we stop this bullshit that has been put into us and onto us and conditioned into us, that we need to be like this all the time with each other. No, we need to come together as human beings. Let's shed the labels and let's come together as humans and rise and lift each other up and support each other. That's the only way that anything of consequence is going to get done in this world.
That
is if we,
and that is true for polarity, and it's true for religion, and it's true for skin color, and it's true for
everything,
gender identity.
everything.
And the reason why we're constantly being polarized is because we are very easy to manipulate when we are confronted to each other.
That's what they want, is this continuous divisiveness, because when they divide,
they conquer.
That means control. Yes, exactly. United, we stand. If we could all get our heads around that and come together, imagine how powerful we would be.
Yeah.
It would be beautiful. We would live in an incredibly beautiful world.
We will see it in our lifetime. I know. So? I've seen it. This is the answer to your first question. That little girl was able to see things. Like, I painted images of COVID when I was in preschool. The world closed, doors closed in a map of the world. I had visions of things that will come that later I understood. And I have seen, I will be very old, but I have seen the world after the apocalypse.
Will be beautiful. We are living through this shit right now. It's happening. Everything has to, I think things have to be burned down to the foundation and rebuilt. We have to start again. And this is what's happening. This is what we're seeing, the crumbling of the conditioning and the world that we've lived in for so long.
We are transitioning something that Richard Rudd calls the cross of the sleeping phoenix. And the concept behind it is that, so the sleeping phoenix first falls asleep and then it burns. So it's almost like the coming back from the ashes is the process of individual awakening. When a critical mass wakes up to the inherent power of the sovereign human, it will be so. The awakening itself is the rising. It's almost like there won't be much battle to fight in the battleground once we all wake up.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah. And we are awakening. More and more people are. And it's a beautiful thing to see. It really is. It really, truly is.
Yeah.
In your experience, what would you say is one of the most misunderstood aspects of feminine leadership?
There is something for women. I think who needs more feminine leadership than anybody else is male, white. I don't know, not even white, all colors. Every time you say male these days comes with white, and I'm like, wait a minute, this is my idea, or somebody put that in my head. Male CEOs and CFOs and CMOs in big corporations. And I have been blessed to work with very high executives in some big corporations like Google and Microsoft, and women. I have even had a client that was a high rank in the steel industry in Australia, men's world. And these are the places where feminine leadership needs to come. These are the places where we need to bring the concept of feminine leadership. And it's difficult when you use the word feminine. So we're leading now with integrated leadership and heart-set leadership, also not sticking that word when there is the heart there. People roll their eyes. So we're finding ways around the narratives so we can trick the...
But why don't we just call it what the fuck it is? Feminine leadership, period.
Because this is a really good point. And in the beginning of my career, I was like that. I was like bold. I'm just going to call it what it is. And I mean, I was quite successful. So it did work in a way. But have you watched a movie called Inception?
Yes.
Okay. So the premise of Inception is what made me study. I went to college for 2 degrees. I have 2 degrees. One is media with a master's in filmmaking. The other one is somatics. The reason why I study media is because I understood very early in life, whoever owns the narrative owns the power. So if the narrative that we bring collides too frontal with the narrative that's been accepted, cognitive dissonance rises and we lose it. So we need to learn, and that's what you see in the movie. They trick them into believing is their own idea. It's the journey to be a master manipulator, and I own it with zero shame. If we can really manipulate the power to start shifting the belief system, the narrative will shift, the reality will shift. So
It will just
you
become.
have to be very, very careful. Because one word out of one, I've seen this. I've been in powerful rooms. One word, you will see the eyes rolling and you lost them.
Lost them.
And very hard to get them back. Because the ego, it's a total...
Shit needs to shift, and it is shifting. And that's the important thing, is that we are seeing the shift. And I just think it would be such a beautiful place if we could. And I know everything happens in divine timing and it happens as it's meant to happen, but fuck, we need the shift. It's got to continue on the path for sure.
Yeah, it is. It just gets darker before the dawn.
Yes, absolutely. You can't have dark without the light. You need them both, and nor can you have the light without the dark. We need the contrast for sure. What is one piece of wisdom that you wish every woman would embody before stepping into her leadership path?
I think it's a two-faced coin. One is, I want to remind my sisters that want to step into leadership that this is about service. It's not about self. And it goes through self because I can only serve when I am fit, right? In Spanish, we have a saying that is, a burned firefighter cannot put out fires. So the best firefighter will take care of himself before taking care of the fire so he can take care of the fire. So yes, self, because we are in service. The second thing is leadership in this three-dimensional reality, in this moment of history, and embodying a female body with the rules of this world requires a whole lot of resilience. If you don't have what it takes, don't try. Just find another way to share your gifts. It's not glamorous. It's not rewarded a lot of the times. It requires profound courage. It requires stamina. It requires consistency. It requires tooting your own horn in days where you do not want to toot nothing. So it is, if you think about a pack of wolves, the leader is not having the better time. The leader is making sure the pack doesn't get lost. If you look at the animal world, those who lead are the ones who are capable.
They're cut out for it. They're made for it.
Exactly. So you need to be made for it. Not everybody is made for it. This is also something I've learned. Not everybody gets to be a leader in life, a leader of their life, a leader of their families. But if you're stepping into leadership at a bigger level, just make sure that even if you're stepping in leadership at a family level, if you decide to bring children and have a family, I would recommend everyone to check in a bit more before popping children left and right. Because I see a lot of people that's just not out for it.
Yeah, they should not be parents. There's a lot of that out there. Absolutely.
I wouldn't
agreed
dare to say that way, but I was thinking just that.
I know you were. I would just say it like it is. There are people out there who should just not be parents. And that's okay. Some people just aren't cut out. It's just like entrepreneurship. Not everybody is cut out to be an entrepreneur. Exactly. That's all there is. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that.
Exactly.
You have to be a certain type of person in order to do that, because it takes, all of the things you list, stamina, resilience, courage, strength, all of it. It takes a lot to do it. It's not easy.
Oh, no.
It's not for the faint of heart.
I wish I was cut out to work for someone else. I just cannot. Never. Not one day of my life in the last 15 years have I worked for anything else than my own dream.
Beautiful. And that's your path, and that's okay. And it's not for everybody.
No, it's not.
For sure. I love that. You've mentored women for over a decade now. What pattern do you see most often when a woman is on the edge of her breakthrough?
Resistance. If you are thinking on canceling the course that you just signed up for, not attending the retreat you said you would, asking for a refund from the coach, going back to the relationship you just broke. I don't know, whatever choice you made, if you are on the, if you're on the second guessing, that's the resistance. Think about this. The ego that kept you small, and small stands for everything else, does not want to die. The ego is an entity that is designed to protect itself. So the moment you go, okay, I'm going to grow beyond this pattern and become this new self, that beast goes wild and it wants to sabotage. So whenever I see sabotage and resistance, I know someone is ready. And then it's just about, are you blessed enough to have a coach or a friend? Disease, sometimes it's cancer that pushes you through, because you can't, when some souls work in a way that the forest is already burning behind. So I can't go back.
Yeah.
Or drug addiction. I already burned all the bridges. There is nowhere to go back. If you have something strong enough pushing you, or someone or a support system, the only way out is through. The only way out is through. There's no way around it. But oh my God, do I hear sophisticated excuses. Since I've been 15 years around, so I listen with compassion, and then I have an ability to undress the ego.
Lovingly. Yes.
You're going to laugh at this, but I'll share something I have never shared in the podcast yet. I have a whip that my friends bought for me for a Christmas. It's a gorgeous leather whip with a golden handle, and it stands next to my desk in my coaching office. Because sometimes that's all the ego needs, is a good
whipping. You got to crack the whip.
I crack it on myself also every day. So
I love that. Thank you very much for sharing. I'm honored that you felt compelled to share that with me and the audience, of course. I love that. What do you believe true feminine leadership feels like in the body?
It feels like a guiding, it feels like hunger or thirst. When you're thirsty, you're thirsty. There's no thinking. The body signals thirst, and you immediately go get water. It feels like that. It's such a clear guidance in the being. Sometimes it's in the body physically, especially in cases of danger, or the body speaks really loud. And sometimes it's just this ease. I keep choosing this thing, and there is this ease, and it's very experiential. Yeah.
Okay. Somatic wisdom plays a huge role in the work that you do. What is one truth that the body never, ever lies about, even when the mind tries to?
The body never lies. The body never lies. And one of the biggest things I get here is when people go, but my body really wants to eat candy, or my body really wants to smoke. And it's like, no, baby, you want it to smoke. The problem is you're not listening to your body. You're listening to your dysregulated dopamine levels or less. But the body never lies. And I think the most important thing for humanity right now is to go back to the body. Go back to listening to the body, go back to being present with your body in every day. When you walk, when you run, when you eat, when you sleep, let's start reconnecting that relationship so we can actually listen to the body's wisdom. My body has saved me a couple of times from death. I have, again, stories for days, but the last one was this last New Year's. It was pretty crazy, actually. We were at a beautiful party, gorgeous villa in front of the ocean, and we had arrived to this villa after midnight. So it was one of those after parties. And I'm sure I was slightly tipsy in some cacao with spices or something like that. And I opened the villa door, and I see that the villa, the garden goes into the ocean. So I go running, and I think I'm going to run. I'm going to end in the ocean. I'm welcoming the New Year's. And halfway through, my body stopped moving. It was so strong. I felt somebody had hold my ankles. So because of the impulse I had, I bounced back and forth. And I had stopped 2 centimeters away from a cliff. Wow. A 2 or 3 meter cliff. There was still beach, but it was a cliff. There was no sign of nothing. And that was somatic intelligence. My body knew and protected itself beyond my control. I have anecdotes like this since I started my somatic training, not getting into cars that were dangerous. Being in India, I was in an area where 2 women got raped the same day I was there hitchhiking. And 2 cars passed by that I decided not to step into because my stomach literally jumped.
Yeah.
So it is such a power when we connect with the body and listen to the body, and it will never lie.
No, our intuition, but we have forgotten that it's there because of the conditioning.
And also because our bodies are Ferraris and we're putting Nesquik in the tank. How
That's quick in the tank. I love that.
Literally, you wake up in the morning, you drink a big glass of sugar. How do you want your gut, which is the main brain of the body, to have anything to tell you? It's high all day. It's on drugs all day.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And don't even get me started with medications and vaccinations and things like that, because we would get cancer all over the place if I.
That's a whole other episode. We could go down that rabbit. I love talking about that stuff, but I don't think this is the platform
definitely
to do
not.
that.
I already paid a high price for that. So for anybody listening to us that goes, I want to wake up the wisdom of my body, start being very impeccable with what you put through your mouth and through your skin too, perfumes, through everything, but definitely what you eat and what you allow the establishment to inject in your body is very important.
How does somatic therapy bridge the gap between knowing your power and embodying it?
The same way a chiropractor bridges the reality between knowing that you have a contraction on your back and releasing the contraction. The one is the theory. So I can know everything about the spine, but I ain't going to take my contraction away.
Yeah.
The other one is the practice, the experience.
The doing.
And the good thing about the second one and why I went down the path, even though I have a very developed mind and a very high IQ, and I went to college and I'm a smart girl, and I thought for a while to develop my career through my thinking. But what I realized is the body is the fastest path, because you don't need to know what the chiropractic is doing. You don't even need to know. So when I work with people with profound trauma, sexual trauma, abuse, you name it, we don't need to talk about the story of how you got there. It's not so important. We do, because you need to express and feel heard and feel seen and feel. But sexual trauma is sexual trauma. And what happens with talk therapy, which has its place as well, and I have profound respect for it as well, but we are only in the theory realm, and the body keeps having the experience.
Yes, because you keep talking about it. Of course it's going to. What else is going to happen? That's why I've heard so many stories from women who do the type of work that you do, and they've had clients come to them that have been in talk therapy for years. They come to the women who are doing the work like you, and they have had breakthroughs within a couple of sessions, like completely shifted what 10 years, 15 years of talk therapy wasn't able to do. So if you're living in that loop, how are you ever going to get out of it if you continually talk about it? Nothing will change, because your body is reliving those memories over and over.
Another amazing story. I'll keep it brief. Do we have time for another story?
Yeah.
I'll keep it brief. I was teaching at Mind Valley, because I was a Mind Valley teacher for a while. So I think this was one of their A-Fest, or maybe Mind Valley University. It doesn't matter. A room, hundreds of people. Yeah. I'm leading them through a somatic process. And there's this one little exercise, part of the whole thing, where I ask them to walk around the room with their eyes closed, and they open their eyes, and the person that's in front of them, I guide them through an eye gazing process where they connect and regulate their nervous system together. Mm-hmm. The session finishes and people come to give you thanks, and this woman comes bawling. She's just like bawling and crying. And I was like, oh my God, what are we dealing with? How are you? What's going on? She goes to her knees. She goes, thank you. You have helped me break a lineage of racism. So it turns out she comes from a very racist family. Apparently, it's called the Ku Klux Klan or something.
Okay.
It's like intense. So intense that she shares some stories that are irrelevant, but she grows up with it's so intense in her system that whenever she sees people of color, she actually gets anxiety and perspiration. Like she has somatic response to it. She has already tried, because it's causing problems in today's world, for her to be that racist. Yeah. She said it's gone. All it took her was to do an eye gazing exercise with a black man that God put in front of her. And they were 4 in the room, but God put that one in front of her, regulate her nervous system. And she ended up the session in this black man's arms in a big cuddle puddle.
Wow.
There's no talk therapy, because in her mind, she already knew that the skin color doesn't lower the value of a human being, but she had a somatic response to skin color from a traumatized upbringing.
Yeah.
One of my favorite stories ever.
Powerful. Thank you very much for sharing that, Layla. What role does vulnerability play in unlocking feminine magnetism? And why do you think it terrifies so many people?
Vulnerability terrifies many people.
It does.
I think is the key to feminine magnetism. I
Yeah.
think it's the key to magnetism. So vulnerability is the doorway to emotion, right? Oh, I have you frozen. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
So vulnerability is the door to emotion, is the place where we share emotion. Emotion is energy in motion. Magnetism is a natural phenomena that can be explained as the amount of energy that a body creates or broadcasts to create a field that will either attract or repel, because magnetism has both poles, the rest of the objects. So a human whose emotional center is open and is in alignment, is not vibrating at drama or is not vibrating at victimization. It's clear and open. It can be vibrating at any energy. You can be extremely magnetic in your sadness. This is one of the things I teach. Women think that to be magnetic, you have to be sparkly and beautiful and feeling great. No way. Remember those 22 women who decided to stay with me through my death process? I was the most magnetic I've ever been. And I was like, I couldn't even get my makeup done to show up in front of the calls. So a field, an energetic field that is clear, that is open, that is broadcasting in alignment becomes magnetic. And so when we allow ourselves to be vulnerable, and I will recommend it, anybody that is interested in this, because we have a little, we're touching things, but we can't go deep, but go to the work of Brené Brown. Brené Brown has dedicated her life to research vulnerability. And she's going to help you understand what is and what is not. Often we call vulnerability oversharing, or victimizing, or trauma bonding, and a whole lot of things that are not vulnerability. Vulnerability is allowing your field to be on the table. And so then the effect that creates is it will attract the energies that are in resonance with that truth, and it will repel the energies that are not in resonance with that truth.
I love that. Thank you for explaining and sharing that. That's amazing and beautiful. What do you believe happens energetically and creatively when a woman begins leading from her pleasure instead of her pressure?
She's going to have a way better time for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah, she's going to have a way better time for sure. Yeah, she will be magnetic. It's very difficult to be magnetic from pressure because once again, that energy emotion that's going to create the electromagnetic field around you, which are your emotions, the field around you is of pressure. And energy doesn't lie. You can't fake this.
No.
So
definitely not.
So allowing it to be what it is. Sometimes leading from pleasure doesn't mean I'm leading from yummy. It can be I'm leading from, wow, what's going on in the middle is hurt so much. I'm going to lead something. And that is still you following the voice of your pleasure. That is wanting to fulfill a desire for peace, a desire for justice, a desire for, and that's something I tell my women always, and men that I coach as well, is get very quiet first so you can hear the voice of your desires and get very honest with yourself. What are the desires that are the desires of your being and what are the desires of your ego? And when you find the desires of your being, know that they are your guiding force. The same way that physical pleasure is the guiding force for biology to procreate itself. And there where we have that the clitoris in women is the only organ in the entire human body, both male and female, that has no other purpose than producing pleasure. It's literally a carrot that God put there dingling for women to chase so that we could continue generating life. So that by the same principle, following your truest desires, not your desire to eat more sugar, those are the ego's desire, but your truest desires, your truest longing, the longing for peace, the longing for equality, the longing for expression, for freedom, for those will lead you to your creation the same way that your orgasm will eventually lead you to making a baby. Literal, if I may.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. How has your understanding of power evolved as you've deepened your work with the feminine? And what does power mean to you now?
That is a great question because I'm actually right now in a process of even redefining it one more time. For me right now, power is my ability to create my reality, whether that reality looks powerful or looks really soft. It's my ability to, for example, a couple of weeks ago, I took a flight I was coming from Kauai to Ibiza, and I was unfairly treated by someone that had a bad day. For me, my power is that I did not need to meet her in her bad day. I didn't need to, even when it was a $700 unfair treatment that came out of my credit card. My power was it didn't ruin my day. It didn't ruin my mood. I had the power to choose my emotional state. I wasn't a victim of a confrontation of the outside world. For me, that's power.
That's huge.
Yeah.
Self-awareness in that.
And the ability to respond, the sovereignty that we were talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, because you could have chose to go the other way and blow up and lose your shit on this woman, but what would that have done for either of you? Most importantly, you. What would that have done for you? It's the most important piece.
Yeah.
You chose the other path, and I love that. I think that's, again, it's a process we need to learn. It takes practice. It takes work to be able to get to that point where you can say, no, this person, I don't care. This person is not ruining my day, nor am I going to bite back and ruin theirs.
Yeah.
They're already having a bad day. You don't need to add to it.
Yeah. And depending on the culture you come from, we have been speaking about this often in my current friend group. We've been traveling together, and we have a couple of Europeans, a couple of Americans, and then we have Asians. And we were looking into the way that language shapes behavior, basically. And so we had to laugh because we are having these conversations in Spain. I'm Spanish, and everyone here that they interact with is Spanish. And there's something in the Spanish culture that is reactive. Try to pat someone on the line in the supermarket. That's it. Yeah. So they are developing profound compassion for whenever I am disempowered because my culture takes over and hijacks. And I am very blessed. I've done a lot of work. I say this with a lot of humility. So I will react and catch myself on the reaction, and we will laugh together. Yeah. And there's a younger woman here that has the same pattern and is maybe not so advanced and is being really sweet, that living together, she can see it too. And so for anybody listening, just be compassionate that a lot of this work it's going to look different based on the not just cultural inheritance, but also biological inheritance that you carry. Yeah. Have compassion with yourself. And if you are a Latina, like I am, and find yourself with short temper, it's not an excuse to keep having short temper, but it is good to know
the awareness.
Yeah, have the awareness that just like our mother and our grandmother and our great-grandmother develop a really shorter ability to respond. When in my Asian friend, someone can tell him the most rude thing and you watch him go like, I feel like you are frustrated in this moment. And inside I'm boiling. I'm like, how the fuck you do it? But I get to learn that from him, and he gets to learn from me a little bit of fire, because otherwise it was like
a little bit of spice. Yes.
Boring.
The contrast is always good. Thank you for sharing that. I love this. All the stories. I love it. Absolutely love it. For the woman who feels numb, burnt out, or uninspired, what's the simplest daily act she can use to begin reawakening her inner muse?
Love yourself. And if loving yourself now sounds like the last thing that you can even imagine attempting because you just hate everything about your reality, then prioritize making time every day to do something that feels good. And we will get there. But choosing to love yourself, whether loving yourself looks like paying the nanny 1 extra hour so you can pick your nose in the park, or it looks like a bubble bath, or it looks like breaking up with that man, or it looks like whatever it is, prioritize it. And prioritize it daily. Start with 15 minutes, 1 hour, whatever you choose. It's going to be different for all of us. But prioritize every day to love yourself. Because without that, there's nothing, no coach, mentor, magical pill, or ayahuasca journey that's going to get you out of where you are. Getting to love ourselves.
Thank you. What do you believe the world is truly starving for in this era of the feminine rising?
The real embodied feminine.
That was easy.
Yeah. Less performance and more embodiment. I started when this was like, I remember still, I have a screenshot from 2014, I think, where I chose the hashtag feminine leadership. Hashtag started to be a thing back then. And it was like under 100 people had used that hashtag.
Yeah.
And I've watched it and I've been part of it. And I'm sure Tom has been guilty of it too. I started in my 20s. I'm sure I've had seasons where I was performing my feminine. But now I really just want to remind all of us in this world of inspiration and personal development and podcast and all of us who are attempting to help write a narrative, that yes, the narrative is amazing and putting it out there is gorgeous. And can we walk it? Can you, like, one of the biggest principles of the feminine is compassion. And I see so many women who are, their egos are screaming sisterhood and screaming feminine leadership and screaming. And then I watch them treat other women with zero compassion. We're talking about mutual support, another big key of the feminine, or the cyclical nature of self. And you're teaching how to consistently create six figures on your business. I don't know if consistent growth is very in alignment with the feminine. Where are the seasons where the growth pauses for a moment and breathes and self-reflects? And like, I think the world really needs the embodiment of the theory, but everything in due time. The embodiment of the theory we're finally accepting. In the day, even the theory was weird. Now the theory is there. Now let's really walk our talk.
Yeah, exactly. That's what needs to happen, is walk the walk, walk the talk, speak it. Yes, you could do all this all day long. If you're not embodying, if you're not walking the walk, it doesn't mean shit.
Yeah.
It's nothing.
Yeah.
It's just words.
Yeah. And it's very sad and it breaks my heart because I'm very much in it. And so some of this lacks of alignment hit very home.
Yeah.
And I'm going to own that I'm also not perfect. So it's not that I'm in my
Nobody is. We are all
time. Yeah.
We're all fallible. We all, it's a human nature. It's part of who we are. But it's, first of all, I think, to have the self-awareness to realize that you're not doing it. Then second, to be able to do something about it, to change it.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
If every woman listening to our conversation could embody one truth about her power starting today, right now, what truth would you choose to share?
If every woman listening could embody a truth about her power, God, that we are the creators. Now I'm really talking just with women. Of course, it's a co-creation, but somehow is in our womb that life is made. And I believe we are the creators and you guys are the protectors of the creation. And we need to remember that. I would love to see a world where the feminine, the voice of the feminine, now it could be also through men, but the feminine makes the rules and the masculine protects the rules that have been made. The feminine builds the temple and the masculine protects the temple. And so if every woman, every single woman will remember that she's a creator, then every single woman will opt out of what I believe is the cancer of our society, which is victimhood. I'm writing a book for many years now. I needed courage to say what I think now can be said, that the way we're in control is by being victimized. We're being victimized through our gender, through our identity, through the color of our skin, through our past experiences. And big movements are being engineered for big masses of humanity to fully identify as victims. And one of those movements, it's difficult for me to talk about it still, but is the Me Too movement. Yes, there was a pure desire to give voice to the victims that is important, and it got fully hijacked by the monster of victimization. And I've had in my practice as a coach, I've had to help women snap out of being fully wrapped around the identity of a victim of sexual assault. You are so much more than that. So much more than that. Something that happened in your life for you to be more powerful. And it happening with color and with religion and with political affiliation. Everybody gets to be very proud of how victimized they are. And that is the end of us as creators. So if every single woman and man could just sink on the truth that we are creators, the world would be such a...
It would be. Absolutely. I agree.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that, Layla. What does freedom mean to you at the very deepest level, beyond money, status, or recognition?
That ability, the ability to create, the realization. I've gone from a consistent 6-figure business and thinking about buying a house to bankruptcy. And from having a ring on my finger ready to get married to being dumped. And in both cases, what saved me is I knew the same way I had created the previous reality, I will create the next one. No doubt. And I have this from childhood. I'm very blessed. My parents did some things really good. And one of them is they made me believe that I could do it all. So here I am.
Yeah.
Doing it all.
There you are. Yeah. How do you define success? What does that word mean to you?
The ability to create the life that you want. Whether that life is living on a teepee on the jungle or on a 7-bedroom mansion in front of the ocean. And I've done both.
It's all possible.
Your ability to, if I want to live a reality and I can, then I'm free. If I want and I cannot, then I'm not free.
What does the word empowerment mean to you?
The opposite of victim. Empowerment means a human that is aware of its power as a creator, where a victim is a human that believes that reality is happening to them. And sometimes, and I say this with a lot of compassion, sometimes reality is such a bitch it really looks like it's happening to us. There's places in the world right now where it's, wow, those souls have chosen a really tough path to remember, right? Because it's easy to remember you're a creator when you're living the lifestyle that you and I are living. And it's not so easy when you're being bombed. I get it. I also have profound respect to that. But I believe that every single one of us, and amazing figures like Nelson Mandela taught us this, nobody can take your freedom away. So for me, empowerment is the remembrance that we are creating our reality.
Wow, that is beautiful. I love that. Okay, we're going to jump into a little rapid fire section. So the next grouping of questions just be 1, 2, 3-word answer type thing.
Okay, I will try my best. Apparently, it's not my strength. I keep watching the time. I'm like, no, don't tell more stories.
You got this. What is your favorite place on earth?
The arms of a beloved.
What is your secret or hidden talent?
I can beatbox. Pretty good.
Really?
To be continued. Follow me on Spotify.
I love it. Thank you for sharing that. What is one of your guilty pleasures?
Oh, I cannot share that publicly at all. We'll keep that between you and I. I'll let you know later.
All right. If you could teach the world one thing, what would it be?
That we are creators. And that
go ahead.
And that now is the time to really take full responsibility for that.
What is one word that sums up your mindset?
Creator. Creatrix.
One book that changed your life?
The Gene Keys by Richard Rudd.
And what is one word that defines the woman you are becoming?
Oracle.
Okay. That concludes our rapid fire section. Now back to our regularly scheduled program. You did it. Celebrating you. I created a bonus question that I did not send you ahead of time. How do you define love, both the kind that you give and the kind that you receive?
For me, love is the binding molecule that keeps it all together. If I had to define it, it would be the ability to trust in life and trust in self and trust in the other beyond anything and everything. I feel like when we are in a state of full trust, then we love.
Okay.
We love not as an action, but as a state of being.
And love is the highest vibration on the planet.
Yeah.
So embodying that.
Yeah. And that's also why relationships are the best dojo. We get into relationships out of love, whether they're romantic or platonic. And that love is the dangling carrot that's leading us to the growth that our soul needs.
Beautiful. If you were to introduce yourself to me without mentioning your occupation, where you're from, your ethnicity, your nationality, your religion, all of the superficial day-to-day markers that we use in our lives, how would you introduce yourself to me?
I am a midwife. I am a midwife of a new species of creator.
Wow, I like that.
It just came from source.
There you go. If you could step into my shoes, what question would you have asked yourself that I didn't ask you?
If I could step into your shoes, what question will I like? Oh my God, you have asked so many good questions. I don't know. Yes. Okay. Yes. Yes.
Okay. All right.
When shit hits the fan, what do I practically do?
Okay. Go ahead. Share.
I turn to support. I think one of the greatest lies we have been told is that we can do anything alone.
Agreed.
Especially lifing, going through life. So I turn to support. I turn to my sisters, to my brothers, to my community, to my coaches, to the community I hold of women. I think that the best thing that we can do, especially preparing for the times ahead, is to have really strong support systems. Your net worth is your network. That is one of the most true statements ever.
Absolutely. We as human beings aren't meant to do this thing called life alone.
We won't be able
We're
to
not. We're
survive.
meant to do it exactly. We are to do it in tribe, in community. It's been that way forever.
Exactly.
We need to remember that, though, because of the conditioning. Again, nope, you have to do it on your own. No, that's bullshit. A weakness is asking for help. No, asking for help is a sign of strength.
Yeah, I am very strong these days.
Beautiful. If you could go back and give your younger self one piece of advice, what would that piece of advice be?
Trust. Chill fuck out. Trust. Just trust. Follow your passion with everything you got. Fuck plan B. Seriously.
Yes, I agree.
Plan B, because I did go for plan B. Way more than I should have. I have way too much talent and way too much support and way too much good karma. I should have just gone for art full on. Fuck plan B. Follow your, and if you have strong dreams, they won't die. You can't put them aside. They will become cancer in your 40s. That don't. So go for them when you have enough energy and stamina to do what it takes to master whatever it is that you need to master to make your dreams come true. Don't wait for your dreams. Drop off college now if it's not your calling. Don't wait.
Yep.
You are stronger and have more energy and more time on your hands now than you will have in 10 years. Oh my God. Yeah.
If you had the opportunity to sit down and have a 1-hour conversation with one woman, any woman in the world, who would it be and why?
Oh my God. I will have a conversation with my future self. And I will with my future, but I wanted her to be 90 at least. Where I would be like, okay, so from now on, what did you need to learn? What did you need to let go of? What did you need to experience from life in order to become the best version of yourself?
Love it. Lastly, Layla, if you were to deliver your last 30-second speech to the world, your tribe, your corner of the world, your people, what would that last 30 seconds sound like? What words of wisdom would you impart?
I think it would be 30 seconds of silence. Ask everyone to take a deep breath and hold hands and eye gaze with each other, or eye gaze with me if I can eye gaze with a lot of people, and have a moment of pure presence. Because I feel like there's nothing we need to say that hasn't been said. We just need to drop into it, drop into presence together.
Beautiful.
Can you imagine the whole world 30 seconds in presence?
Oh, that would be incredible. Absolutely beautiful. Delicious.
Exactly.
Layla, thank you so much for this incredibly beautiful, thought-provoking, inspiring, amazing conversation. I have enjoyed every single minute of it. The laughs, the stories, all of it. You are such a beautiful, bright light in this world. I am so grateful to have had the opportunity to sit and share in your story, your stories, your journey, and the beautiful light you put out into the world through the work you do. I am grateful to call you a friend and to have you as a member of the Empowerography community. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for creating the space for this to be shared. Genuinely.
Once again, sorry, go ahead. Once again, my name is Brad Walsh, host of your Empowerography podcast. Today, my guest has been Layla El Khadri. She is an artist, a muse, and feminine leadership mentor who knows how to get you to access your awe-inspiring magnetism with over a decade of experience guiding women to express their absolute highest potential and embody their magic. Thank you so much, Layla. I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day.
Bye.
Thank you very much for listening to this podcast. If you haven't yet, please be sure to subscribe, rate, review, and share with all your friends. You can find me at viseuphoria.ca Follow me on Instagram at Empowerography Podcast and on Facebook at Empowerography. Please join me next time for another inspirational story from yet another amazing woman.